Good afternoon, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, you know it doesn't work without you guys. So it's a Saturday afternoon, taking a little break out here, enjoying the weather. We cut the grass, definitely checked on the plants and stuff, and everything's kind of growing and looking really good right now. Some interesting news as we begin to start the process of reopening things. The big question is, will there be a football season? And I am one that believes that come hell or high water, the NFL is going to figure out a way to make sure that they have a season. I can almost say it's going to be guaranteed. Now the question will be is what kind of form? Now the NCAA president for football has actually had a conference call with the NFL, I think Major League Baseball as well as basketball and Congress. And they started the process of saying that players can start coming back to the colleges as of the 1st of June to start preseason workouts. Now, what's going to kind of happen is, or what they were talking about is, they're working on schedule. They said that not all teams may be playing football this season. And it may end up being a scramble for filling in, vacancies because we don't know what teams are going to and what aren't. And if they do end up getting coronavirus, how they'll deal with it. But they also said what they're looking at is having the season done by Thanksgiving. And what a lot of schools are actually talking about doing right now is basically you get to campus and your ass doesn't leave campus until Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving will be the end of the semester until, of course, then the following year. So they figure that it's better for everybody to be there together, hopefully tested and not having the coronavirus, and kind of control the environment. And so this means that the NCAA is talking about trying to finish up the college football season by Thanksgiving. So we're talking about playoffs, national championship, the works, which means it'll be a shortened season. What does this mean as far as the NFL? And you're asking me, why are you talking about college football? Because you don't really do college football. Well, I'm doing this because the NFL, you notice that the NCAA is also on the phone with the NFL. The NFL has done their schedule with some movability in it. If college football, and we're talking about the national championship, ends come Thanksgiving weekend, that means all of December, including when we usually have all the bowl games, all those bowl games aren't being played in December. Think about that. That means that's a lot of television space. The NFL already has on the table, if college football isn't being played on Saturdays, that they'll take Saturdays. They will shift some games to Saturdays. So I don't know how this would actually work as far as monetary wise, because if football is putting more games on TV and moving this, so this is going to be an interesting dynamic. You're talking about, 2 or 3 more weeks of having Saturday games. We always know the end of the season, we always have 2 Saturday games the last 2 weeks of the season. But now we're talking about the possibility of having Saturday games for more weeks, which means that technically we're doing more work, television networks. You're not paying for the college football over here. That might end up offsetting some of that money that the NFL loses in revenues from not having fans in the stands. Now, I, of course, am a cynic. I don't know if the corona has slowed down or if it's because we were doing social distancing that's the reason why it has. For all we know, maybe it's waned. I know that over the course of the next couple of weeks, we know that we have gotten people outside their homes, that we've gotten people that have been taken to jail. So, when they've been putting a busload of people in a bus to go to jail, that when we have police officers pulling down masks and things and spraying people in the face, and we have people protesting and marching together, stacked up on top of a car, we ain't social distancing like we were. Yes, a lot of people wearing masks, but a lot of people weren't. So we're going to find out, having close proximity to people, if being outside and having the warm weather, if we have a major spike, then we got big problems as far as sports go. If we don't, well, that may end up opening it up, the possibilities of really being able to have fans in the stands. Make no mistake about it. In October, the Cowboys come to D.C. and play the Washington Redskins. For the last 4 years, I've been tailgating and having a tailgate that's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. Last year, we had about 400 people. I don't want to miss that tailgate. I want to be able to have that tailgate, hang out with my friends and everything else. But more importantly, I want everybody to be safe. If it ends up being that the only way we have a football season is we can only watch it on television, I'm okay. I understand it's about the safety of the players and everybody else. But would I love to be able to go see it? Yes, you know I do. You know I do. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's be diligent in what we do. And let's hope for the best. Final thought in here as far as what we're looking at. As colleges have started to open up, we've already heard about some college players that have tested positive. Now, testing positive and being sick, that's two different things, because a lot of people have it and don't know that they've had it. What's a good sign is yesterday, Von Miller was out protesting yesterday. The reason I say that was good is because Von Miller tested positive a couple of months ago for the corona. And fortunately, he seems to be okay. So that's where we are with this whole situation. We know that teams are now able to open up facilities on a limited basis. Coaches are allowed to return. The NFL and the NFLPA are working on what to do about the salary cap, figuring they going to take a monetary hit because we possibly will have reduced capacity or no capacity. They're figuring out ways that the salary cap won't go down. So basically they're going to look at the gross, they're going to look at where the television contract should be, and they're going to work it out so that way we say, okay, we understand that this is something we've never had to deal with, but this isn't a long-term issue. This will be a temporary thing. So we will use the numbers for the future to keep the salary cap as it is, because if they didn't, literally every team would have to take an axe to the teams and get the teams to be able to get under the salary cap. So they're understanding and learning how to work. And this is where we as fans and as citizens have to understand that this is something we haven't faced in 100 years, and that you're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to make allocations and understand that there's a greater good and purpose in working together to make these things work. So as I sit here today versus a couple of weeks ago, I'm more optimistic about the possibility of having football in some form or another. And let's hope that 2 weeks from now, we're saying that the numbers are still flat or going down. So I'm enjoying this weather right now. Can you hear the breeze? Listen to that. It's a beautiful thing out here. I'm going to ask a stupid question here. As I sit out here in this beautiful day, I know there's a hurricane or tropical depression or whatever category it is right now. And be careful out there. I know there's some tornadoes that were spawned up in Florida, I think in Gainesville maybe. Be careful out there. But sometimes we go through bad things. I know in my own life, I had a flesh-eating bacteria, Disney over here. It ended up being catastrophic in my life. Had a job that I really loved, that while I was recovering, I got let go. I spent 6 months learning how to walk again. It was the beginning of the end of my first marriage. I literally went bankrupt from it. It was a terrible time in my life. And at that time, it was just like, I can't believe I'm going through this shit. But I'm going to tell you that everything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger, as they say. Because when you go through something traumatic, and if you've never been through anything bad before, you don't learn to appreciate the good times. You know what I'm saying? You take walking for granted until you're physically unable to walk. Then you start realizing, damn, I sure wish I could get up out of this bed and walk around. And when you get to the other side, when things get better after going through that tragedy, all of a sudden you appreciate things that you didn't before, things that you always took for granted. And this is what we're going to learn once we get through all this stuff. Once we're able to go at a restaurant with our friends and family and have a great time, or hang out at a sports bar, or go to games. Having gone through this, you realize some of the things that are really important. And the most important thing that you're going to have in life, it's not money. It's not that fancy car, that big house. That thing that you're going to realize that is most important is those relationships with other people. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But for me, it's not about how much money you make or how much stuff you got. It's really about that journey and those times with others. To me, that makes you a wealthy person. So enjoy the day. And I swear, the air feels so much cleaner. The sky looks so much bluer these days. And you're hearing sounds that you don't normally hear. Am I crazy? Have a great Sunday.